Hello student, the software quality. Today we shall discuss about the software quality. Software quality, what is software quality? Actually, software quality is terms as defined for the fitness of the product. The, how will we define the fitness of the software? Because when we consider software, the quality of the software products and hardware products are very different from each other. Like in the software, when we use a product with time, it's decay. But in this case of the software, in software industry, the software product do not decay out. It lasts longer than the hardware products, and so we cannot compare these two. And soft in the sense that it's keep evolving to accommodate the changes of the circumstances. क्योंकि सॉफ्टवेयर जो है आप क्वालिटी इसकी हम जो मेजर करेंगे तो वो टोटली डिफरेंट है क्योंकि सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोडक्ट डज नॉट डिके आउट लाइक द हार्डवेयर प्रोडक्ट. Now, what are the quality product that we associate with the software product? Because there are certain things that you need to upgrade with time in software to maintain its quality. It means this, first we should understand that what are the actual terms in terms of which we decide whether the software quality is as per norms or not. Because if क्योंकि सॉफ्टवेयर में आपके कभी भी क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट्स आपके प्रोडक्ट जो does not decay out, so it is possible, it is, but it is updated frequently because this technology in the software industry, the technology keeps on changing and the software needs to evolve with the current trend of changing technologies. And there are certain quality parameter that a software should satisfy so that it remain relevant. What are these? The the qualities that we consider as the quality standard for software products are probability, usability, reusability, correctness, and maintainability. A software product is said to be the portable if it can be easily made to work in different hardware and operating system environment. Means it if you designed a software and it should be easy that it could run on different type of hardware platform like Windows, Microsoft, Unix, Linux, etc. And this is called the term portability. So the software should be portable in nature. The next quality standard is usability. A software product has a good usability if different categories of users can easily invoke the function of the product. So it means that if there are different user and demands different kind of feature, but there are certain functions and functionalities which are commonly used by these two, and they need different sets of functionality. So a software should be so much usable that different user can use different set or different combination of function together and together easily. And reusability. A software next property is reusability. A software product has good reusability if different modules of the product can easily be reused to develop new product. Suppose if you have designed the product in such a modular architecture that you can reuse one module that you have designed for one project into the another project without any major modification, then this is called that the product modules project modules are reusable and they can be simply plug and play, they can use it as an add-on or plug and play like method in different project also. The next quality is correctness. A software product is correct if different requirement as is specified in the SRS document have been correctly implemented. Means it should not be like that we have mentioned a lot of functionality and exaggerated their features in your SRS, but actually the user do not get that. So the SRS should be well documented. This is the one. This is a one more important property of the software quality. The last one is the maintainability. A software product is maintainable if error can be easily corrected as and when they show up. A new function can be easily added to the product, and the functionality of the product can be easily modified. So as I've told you that in the software industry, technologies keep on changing. So the software should be that much flexible that as per need you may make modification in the software to get the new feature or upgrade it as per new requirement. So because definitely software industry, where that is very dynamic in nature, the language environment keep on changing, and software should be that much editable, or you may say that it should be that much flexible. You can modify it whenever you want to add a new functionality or new feature into it. Now we shall decide that there are some quality standards that are used in software industry. So first of all, software quality management it is the principal methodology that is used by insurance organization to ensure that the product that they have developed has the desired quality, because we know that the software products are very different from the hardware product. How I should show you. Suppose just take an example of the automobile industry or steel industry. When you manufacture a product, a user can easily take a look of the production process, and he can visualize that what is being produced. He can check out whether the product is as per standard or not. But in case of software industry, it is very difficult for a normal user or customer to get an idea of what is actually being developed, because in other industry the raw material is iron, steel, and they have particular setup and framework. There you can see that. But in software industry, the raw material is only data. So when a product developer team is working on the data, user does not get an idea of what is actually being developed. He get an idea only after a long time, when a certain percentage of the project has been completed. So it is very difficult to measure or standard and set a quality standard for the things which cannot visualize easily. So the quality standard used for the other industry, or you may say that hardware industry, are very different from the standard that are used for the software industry. Now in the hardware industry and software industry, there is the quality is managed by or controlled by, established by the quality standard established by the ISO. This is an international standard organization that is a consortium of the 63 countries established to formulate and foster standardization. And in 1987 ISO published a 9000 series of standard. तो ISO आपकी एक इंटरनेशनल बॉडी है जो कि 63 कंट्रीज का एक ग्रुप है, जिसने 1987 में किसी भी प्रोडक्ट की क्वालिटी स्टैब्लिश करने के लिए 9000 स्टैंडर्ड स्टैब्लिश किए. दिस इज सो दैट्स व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड द ISO 9000. The name is ISO 9000. It represents that there are 9000 standards which are used to decide the quality of the product, and it also covers the software industry also. But how it can set up the quality standard for the two industries which are different from each other, because it is very much easy to check the quality in terms of verify or validate the quality in the hardware industry, but it is very difficult when we talk about the software industry. So ISO 9000 works as a reference for the contract between two independent parties. If a company has ISO 9000 certification, it does not certify the product. First of all, does not satisfy the product, it certifies the process. It means ISO 9000 standard specifies the guideline for maintaining a quality systems. Okay, because it standardizes the process and that the company is following certain standard set of procedure to develop the product, so the customer can expect that a certain set of quality from the final product that they will produce. The ISO standard addresses both the operational aspect and the organizational aspect, such as responsibility reporting, etc., etc. ISO 9000 specifies a set of recommendation for repeatable and high quality product development, because it said that out that this kind of procedure or certain standard should be followed every time the product is repeatedly manufactured. So every time this is compulsory for the company to maintain its certificate that it follow the certain procedure, so the product quality is maintained. It is important to realize that ISO 9000 standard is a set of guidelines for the production process. As I've told you, it's a set of guidelines for the production process. It is not directly concerned with the product. So, and in ISO 9000, there are three types of standard. What are these? These are ISO 9001, ISO 9002, ISO 9003. So why there are three standards? Because they deal with the variety of products. That's why we need different set of standards for different types of product. The ISO 9000 series of standards are based on the premise that if a proper process is followed for production, then a good quality product are bound to follow automatically. बिकॉज हम जानते हैं कि अगर भी हम ज़्यादा अच्छा प्रोसेस को ही स्टैंडर्ड कर दें तो ये ऑब्वियस सी बात है कि हमारा जो प्रोडक्ट आएगा वो एक सर्टेन क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट होगा, उसकी क्वालिटी एक लेवल की होगी। तो इसके बेस पे हमारे सॉफ्टवेयर आईएसओ ने अपने तीन स्टैंडर्ड दिए हैं, आईएसओ 9001, आईएसओ 9002 एंड आईएसओ 9003। तो इसमें क्या है, आईएसओ 9001 the standard applies to the organization engaged in design, development, production, and servicing of goods. This is the standard that is applicable to most software development organization. तो ये वो कंपनीज जो डिजाइन, डेवलपमेंट, प्रोडक्शन और सर्विस चारों ही चीजें प्रोवाइड करती हैं। वो डिजाइन भी करती हैं, वो डेवलप भी करती हैं और वो प्रोडक्शन भी करें, और उसके बाद आफ्टर प्रोडक्शन दे आल्सो प्रोवाइड द सर्विस। दिस सर्टिफिकेशन ISO 9000 is one for that companies which deal with all these four sections of the manufacturing and servicing. So this application is standard for most of the software development organization, because in software organization they design their own software, they done coding by themselves. After the coding they also install it and provide it to the user, and after installing they also provide the maintenance service also. So software industry comes under, so this standard is applicable to software industry also. Okay. Now the next standard is ISO 9000 World. This standard applies to those organizations which do not design product but are only involved in production. They do not design but they only production. Like the industry, the automobile industry, they do not design. They, after setting up the standard, they only produce. They do not produce steels. They are only involved in production. They are not manufacturing steels. So they purchase their raw material from the other industry, and after that they start production. So this is standard for the company which do not design but only do manufacturing work. So therefore the ISO 9002 is not applicable for the software development organizations. Now the next standard is ISO 9003. This standard applies to the organization involved only in the installation and testing of the product. So they here different section, the software industry uses ISO 9001 for they deal with all the four aspects of design, development, production, and servicing. ISO 9000 only with the companies which only does production work or manufacturing work, and ISO 9003 for the companies which perform which involved only in installation and testing. Then what is actually like there are many of the clause of the ISO 9000 documents are written using the generic terminology, means they are defined for the normal different other industries like which do production work, and where you can visualize the particular development procedure and you can check the quality while they are in process of making. But they are, since the software industry is very tangible in nature, means you cannot visualize that process that much easily, and it is even take time to validate or verify the certain functionality. So many of the clauses of the ISO 9000, that are 9000 standard, that are not applicable to the software industry. Because it is very different from the other development industries. The one of the two major difference is that, first, as I have told you, is software is intangible, means it is, and it is very difficult to control because it is not visible, and something that is not visible, you cannot manage it or control it, because until unless you get the final product, you cannot verify it, validate it, and while the developer are developing the project, nobody can claim that what are they are developing and what is the quality of the product. uh, and the second is that the software industry consumes only raw data. So that's why there are many issues with the ISO 9000 and standard which are not applicable to the software industry. That's why we need a different different separate document that is called ISO 9001 part 3, that is designed specifically for the software industry. It was set as a standard in 1991 to help to interpret the ISO standard for the software industry. At present, the official guidelines are inadequate regarding the interpretation of various clauses of ISO 9001 standard in context of software industry, and one has to keep on cross-referencing the ISO 9000 bar 3 documents. So basically, ISO 9000 is also applicable on the software industry, but we can say that many of the clauses are not applicable to the software industry. So ISO designed a special additional part or separate document for the software industry that's called the ISO 9001 that is designed specifically for the setting up the quality standard in the software industry. So that's all is the ISO 9001, and every company try very hard to get this certification, because by getting this certification, they get the confidence of the user in themselves, and user rely on them that they are following a certain development procedure, and because of which they get many more products, many more projects, and that's also improve the quality of the software, and the works for the betterment of the company, and they try very hard to get the certification.